How's everybody doing? This is an impromptu live that I'm doing. It's a few things that I wanted to talk about, and I just thought about this in between working on content and other products to offer you. By the way, I'm Tamara Tamu. If you're new here, this is the Unleashed Alchemy YouTube channel, and my focus is to give you actionable tips and steps that you can implement into your life so that you can ultimately be free in yourself, to be free in who you are as a cosmic energetic being, to be free in your spirituality and the way that you came here to practice. Okay. And if you have been subscribed to my channel for a long time, you know that a lot of what I talk about is reprogramming your nervous system from programming from religious dogma and doctrine. Okay. And what I notice is missing from that conversation, there's a lot of conversation about deconstructing from religion, and a lot of talk about how religion came to be, where the Bible came from, how it was used, why or how religion was created initially as a for political reasons. Okay. And there's a lot of very helpful information, a lot of wonderful information that's out there. But what I'm finding is that the missing piece, which is where I come in, the missing piece is about the emotion, the energetics, and the identity part of this. Because if you have grown up in a system, okay, even if you didn't grow up in a religious system, if you spent significant amount of time in that system, that is how you operate in life, which affects your emotions, which affects your identity, how you see yourself, how you see the world. Okay. That piece is missing from a lot of conversation. Now, I'm not saying that that conversation is not out there, but that emotional piece and identity is what is missing. Okay. So, hey, Tatum, glad to have you. This is an impromptu live. So I'm off the cuff here talking about a lot of things. And one of the things that you'll always hear me say is we can talk about spiritual practices all day. We can talk about candle work. We can talk about rituals. We can talk about herbal magic, root magic, elemental magic. We can talk about all of that. Okay. Um, but if you have not dealt with the identity of how you have operated from the identity of someone who has been programmed by religion, all of those conversations are not going to do a thing for you, because you will take religious dogma and you will put it into your spiritual practice, which is why you see a lot of people that say things like, oh, well, I left religion, I went over to new age spirituality, and now I've just gone back to church. That flip flop, 9 times out of 10, a person that has done that, because they did not deal with the identity, the energetics, and the emotions of the negative effects of from religious programming. Okay. Because first of all, spirituality is not, it's not for entertainment. It is for your elevation. It is for your evolution. It is for transformation. Okay. So to go higher, to live your life with a higher frequency. Okay. Also, what I want to say is this. So I just remember that we can talk about all kinds of spiritual practices, but if you have not dealt, because it's not enough to just really physically leave religion. It's not enough to just say, "Oh, I don't identify with certain religion anymore, or I don't go to church anymore." You have to go internal and deal with the energetic part of that. You have to go internal and identify where religious programming is still operating in your life and how it has negatively impacted your life. A lot of people don't want to do that because that is heavy work. It is heavy work, but it is not, but you're bigger than that. It will not consume you, but you just have to address it. Okay. Also, I want to say this. I watched a few clips of two individuals. Okay. Two individuals. One was, considers herself, would call herself spiritual. The other one calls herself, religious, whatever. And the reason why this conversation between these two individuals came to be was because the one who identifies with religion said something very negative about the one who identifies with being a spiritual person. Okay. And number one, you'll always have the right to address it when someone has said something negative about you. And you have the right, all of us have a right to address negative comments about us in the way that we choose, right? And so that was the reason for the conversation between these two young women. However, and you'll hear me, if you've been around here for a minute, you've heard me say this too. When you have separated yourself from religion, it's not going to do you any good to attempt to debate or attempt to argue with someone who is still operating from religious dogma. That is a waste of time. Okay. Thank you. That is a waste of time, of your time. And that is not how you want to use your energy or invest your energy into that type of conversation. And again, everybody has a right to address negative comments about themselves if it comes up, if it arises. With this conversation between these two women, I'll just say the religious one appeared to be like deer in a headlight. Okay. Anytime she was asked a question, it was always, she either did not answer the question or she answered the question with the scripture. And you may be saying, well, is that wrong? Well, I don't know if it's wrong or right. However, when you are having a conversation with someone about spirituality and religion, if that individual, if their only source of information, if their only source of what they consider to be truth is held in one book, that in itself is an issue. If that person's idea of truth, if that person's list of beliefs or rules come from one book, and it doesn't even have to be the Bible, it could be, for instance, like, for example, if I was that religious person in that video and my source of truth was from Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham. I know that's a silly example, but I'm being simple with the examples to get my point across. If I'm only using that one piece of text to view myself, to view life, to view other people, you don't want to have, if you are living your life as an expanded spiritual being, you don't want to get into a debate with me because that is a waste of your time and you will not get anywhere. The conversation will not get anywhere. And that is what I was seeing between these two women that were attempting to have a conversation. It did not start off as a debate, But the conversation just kind of phased out because it kind of turned into a debate, and it was just a back and forth. No one got anywhere. So, what I am telling you is do not have your energy entangled up with someone who wants to argue with you about why you left your religion, about your spiritual practice. Because I'm finding that people are getting, it's almost like a trick, it's a distraction. People are allowing themselves to get their energy entangled into these types of conversations. Now, I don't know those two young women personally, but this is what I observed. So you may find yourself in that type of situation because once you, there's a level of excitement that comes up when you have expanded your mind, when you have allowed yourself to return to the sovereign being that you are, when you allow yourself to return to the magician that you are, when you allow yourself to return to the alchemist that you are, there is a level of excitement because you feel on the internally, you feel this shift. You feel this elevation. And you want to share that with everybody, especially in most, actually, with those that you love and care about. You really want to share this with everybody, but sometimes you can't for the reason that I just gave you. People are not ready to hear it, or either that, or they're going to try to debate you with their one source of information, with their one source that they consider to be truth, i.e., the Bible. You will not get anywhere with that person or those people. So don't do it. Do not do it. Stay focused on your sovereignty, stay focused on your elevation. Okay. And so, one of the ways that I help people do that is with my new program that is launching June 7th, which is this Saturday. And this is a live program that I'm teaching. Okay. And it will be over 8 sessions. Those 8 sessions are not consecutive eight. It's we'll meet for the first session Saturday, then we'll skip a week, next session, and that's how the 8 sessions will go. The reason why I'm skipping a week in between the sessions is because, again, we're talking about identity work, emotional work, nervous system work to get you to the other side after religious programming. A lot of people who leave their religion, they're asking the question, okay, what now? What now? This program is the answer to the what now. This program is the answer to you tapping back in to your true soul's identity, not the programmed identity that you were handed, but your true soul identity, the identity that you came here into this physical life with. All right. So again, the sessions, there are 8 sessions. All right. And we go heavy. The first session is going to go heavy into the nervous system and identity work. We talk about how to recognize where religious programming is showing up in your life right now. We talk about fear. Yes, we do eventually get into how you identify your spiritual practice and your spiritual path, but that's all the way at the end. All right. And so, what I want you to do, I'm going to leave the link. Let me hold on. Let me put this. Can I put it in the comments? I'm on my phone. Um, Let me see. I'll leave it, the link for you to sign up. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this now. Mm, let's see. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Nope. I'm sure there's a way to do this. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll leave the link for you to register and save your spot. Again, we start June 7th. So get into the program so that you can really experience a freedom upgrade. All right. I call the program Deconstructing Religion and Rediscovering Sovereignty, or Discovering Sovereignty, but it's so much more than just deconstructing religion. Yes, that's a part of it, but you, again, you have to deal with the emotional piece and the identity portion in your nervous system. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to come on here live. I had a few things that I wanted to share with you. And I started a series. I think part 4 is getting dropped today, but the series is called The Hidden Effects of Religious Programming. Sometimes when you don't know where religious programming is operating in your life, or even if it is operating in your life. I didn't know for the longest, okay? But it took a lot, again, of internal work. So the work that I have done over time, over years, over 2+ decades, I'm bringing this to you, not just in the program that begins June 7th, but also snippets of it in the series that we're in the middle of on the YouTube channel called The Hidden Effects of Religious Programming. Check out, I believe it's part 4 that drops today. All right. So thank you for listening to me in this promptu live that I've done. Perhaps I need to go live a lot more, but I wanted to share those pieces of information with you. Okay. And you can integrate it into your life. Again, reserve your energy for you. Reserve your energy to ask the question, who am I? Every day, I still ask that question, who am I? Who am I? So I always go through a meditation where I always say, let my sovereign identity be fully expressed. Allow my true soul's identity to be expressed. I always say that every day. Okay. It's part of my daily ritual. All right. It's a never ending, I don't want to say process because that sounds too strategized, too hard, but it's part of your transformation. It's part of your evolution. We're spiritual beings having this experience, but our main purpose, our main goal is to evolve. To expand is natural for us. All right. So it's part of our expansion. Um, but yeah, but don't get your energy caught up in trying to argue with somebody about their Bible. Okay. So also stay focused on your path. Don't compare it with anyone else's, and be sovereign in your own life. Okay. So if you were here at the end, go back, watch this from the beginning. I didn't even expect to be on here that long. But anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing to the channel. Okay, share the channel with other people that you know could use this wisdom. All right. Until next time, stay sovereign.